What is up, everyone? This is Rollin' Dirty bringing you my first video for this channel. I created this channel specifically to capture EUC content and share it with enthusiasts that are interested in getting into the EUC lifestyle or learning more about electric unicycles. So in this particular video, you'll see me riding the veteran Sherman Max here on the Snoqualmie Valley Trail. And guys, the Snoqualmie Valley Trail, it stretches from basically from Duvall, Washington, and this is western Washington, all the way to Rattlesnake Lake. So that goes from Duvall to Carnation to Fall City to Snoqualmie to North Bend, and then it ends and terminates at Rattlesnake Lake. Now, interestingly enough, this ride is about 32 miles long. If you take the whole, you start from Duvall and go all the way to Rattlesnake Lake. But what's interesting about this is at Rattlesnake Lake, there's a small little deviation off the trail, and it turns into another trail. There's the John Wayne Pioneer Trail up there. And then there's also a connection to the Cedar Falls Trail, which becomes part of a much larger trail that stretches across the mountain range. Iron Horse, well, previously referred to as Iron Horse Trail, it's now called the Iron Horse State Park Trail and Iron Horse Trail, which stretches across the mountain ranges there and into eastern Washington and all the way across Washington State, terminating at the edge of Washington and Idaho. Now, what's cool about this trail, guys, is that it's pretty nicely groomed. Normally I wouldn't take the Sherman Max on a trail unless it is. I just don't want to beat it up over a bunch of bumps and rocks and stuff. I have the InMotion V12 high torque for that, and it does a better job with pedal clearance and whatnot. But for this trail and for this, certainly this distance, I'm looking to use the Max because it's got, the 3600 watt hour battery. It's got all the power I need to push up the hill. It also does a better job cooling the motor than most while engaging on a descent or a hill climb. So in this particular case, I was able to push the Max as hard as I wanted. At certain places I topped out at about 38 miles an hour, of course, when nobody was around. In other places, I averaged about 15 to 20 miles an hour, just like you would on a mountain bike or another bike. The nice thing about this trail is that it's really wide, so there's plenty of room for passing folks that are going a little slower, and there's lots of room to make room for oncoming traffic, which on a weekend there's more than you might expect. So right now you can see that I'm actually on the Iron Horse Trail, and I'm making my way up the mountain. And pretty soon, some of these trees will open up. We'll get to an area where you can see a little bit off the side of the mountain, and there'll be some nicer views of the mountain range from that perspective. Also, a good place to stop and rest. There's some picnic tables along the way, and everybody knows your feet get a little cramped and tired. So it's nice to take a 5-minute break here and there and refresh the way your feet feel. So you'll notice I'm transitioning between frames here. I didn't have the camera running the whole time, simply because I think on this journey I went a total of about 34 miles. And in this case, I'm actually holding my camera. It's not mounted to me, so wanted to put it down from time to time in order to to have better control over the wheel in some areas that were a little muddier, as well as rest my arm a little bit because I was getting tired of holding it. I purchased the Insta360, and I expect I'll be making more content. This isn't recorded with that, but I'll be making more content with it, and I'm looking forward to doing that. So what I'd like to do for this, for some of these upcoming videos, unfortunately it's the end of fall and winter's coming on to us here pretty soon. It's currently October 24th, 2022. So, you know, much of this will be snowed over and unavailable, but in the spring, I expect to be able to come back up here. And what I'd like to do is plan out a route where I'm able to ride this trail and stop off at some of the towns and cities along the way for a recharge, and maybe spend, you know, 3-4 days doing the journey and see if I can make it across the state. Eastern Washington might be a little more tricky. I have to look into that, but I'd at least like to get to the eastern side of the mountains and experience the mountainous part of the trail because it's beautiful. Now, if you guys want to get into riding electric unicycles, I've only been riding for about 3.5 months, and to me it feels pretty natural now. I don't get too worried about it, and I don't feel like it's something where I have to focus so much on balancing the wheel anymore. It feels pretty natural. So I'm pretty happy with the experience. It kind of feels like, you know, gliding through the air once you forget about the wheel beneath you, since you're no longer thinking about it as much. You learn to relax on top of it, and then you can have some fun on trails like these guys, because I mean, it is a lot of fun. You get to go out in the open air. The air is fresh, especially here in this state, you know, where there's so much greenery. The air it's got a sweet smell and taste to it, and it's just really enjoyable being outside. Like before this ride, I wasn't feeling that great, actually. I had kind of a headache and felt a little run down from overworking myself the day prior, but I thought, you know, I'm not going to get many chances at doing this year, so I need to go out and ride this trail. And I actually wasn't intending on coming on this trail, guys. I was just planning on going to the end of the Snoqualmie Valley Trail that terminates at Rattlesnake Lake, and I did that. But then I had plenty of daylight, and I saw that there was this other trail I hadn't even heard of, and I was like, well, let's go up that. So I started going on it. I didn't realize it was this massive trail that goes all the way across the state, and that I was just embarking on what will at some point in the future be an amazing journey. So I'm looking forward to that. But guys, if you want to get into this, use my links. I have affiliate links. It helps me out, helps me make more content for the channel. If you can make your purchases from those affiliate links, that helps me a lot. Here's what I was talking about a little earlier in the video. You can see how beautiful this is. On the left there, you'll see Interstate 90. That's the interstate that goes over the mountains. And unfortunately, you can hear it from the trail, but it's still beautiful. And you know, let's face it, the trail probably wouldn't exist except for these these power lines that are here. So I'm grateful that it's taken care of and kept in condition that I can travel on it on a unicycle. It's a lot of fun, and I highly recommend it for a pastime. If you're looking for something that gets you out off the desk or away from the rat race, I highly suggest getting involved in learning to ride an electric unicycle. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you watching, and look for more content from me. Like and subscribe, please. It helps a ton.